Yeah. Thank God for the old Starbucks. I go, I'm cheating. They're nice enough to sometimes let people use the restroom. I don't ever have to use the restroom there. I use the public restrooms here. Once I found out where they were, I don't have to use Starbucks restrooms anymore. But it's just kind of funny that, you know, we live in with all modern conveniences, and we're being shitty to each other. You can't use the restroom here. This person runs with this set over here. People get accused for murders that they had nothing to do with, like in Michigan. When you use somebody's name and it comes up in a Google alert, and then all of a sudden the person shows up, but yet you do a show like me for 2 years, shit talking people that I actually know for good reason. Oh, wow! I don't hear nothing from them. It's amazing. It's amazing, right? Yeah, we know what a bunch of phonies they are, and I'm talking about very specific people that I came up with. I'm very disappointed in former friends and family, but they didn't have to go out into the world, and so I get ostracized for actually doing it, for actually doing something. One of the last things, my turncoat drummer who was running game down in Florida, just like the African Americans at Amazon, they do the same thing. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Woods and Bloods are exactly the same. They have to keep up the racial divide because they don't have a life. You can't have pride in something that you're born into. You can't have black pride, you can't have gay pride, and you can't have white pride. White powder, you can't, because you're born into it. You can only have pride in your accomplishments, right? So I'm proud of my writing, which is always available in the description, and my songs, which are always on the Grievance GOrDIE show channel and under Linoleum Blown Apart. I couldn't get any support. You guys know the story. Yesterday's show was very spastic. You see, if I don't do a show every day, then I have a lot of information and I just flood you guys with it. I'm going to try not to do that. What we do here is we create our own nomenclature. We're creating our own concepts. We're creating our own, world, which is basically me sitting here with all the rest of the bums. Oh boy. I told you yesterday I was obsessed with 1940s culture. It was all about bums. It was all about the Marx Brothers. I loved it. Look at me. This is how I live. There it is. There's my pack right there. Right? I mean, who else could you be disappointed in? You can't be disappointed in people that you don't know. What I was disappointed in is people who were using tech. Now, I was trying to get out yesterday. I was trying to say, when they let these kids steal at Lululemon. You can go to Lululemon. I'm not, advocating this, but these kids are just grabbing everything, right? I got a tree coming out of my hand. I never checked that. Let me see. I'm sorry. I just it's still I just see it as a tree coming out of my head. Okay. Again, you're coming to my show for a different perspective. I'm not interested in shooting fish in a barrel. As a matter of fact, my father never even took me fishing. Not once. Not once. I talk about this stuff. Why? Take a look at Steven Spielberg. He's talking about his mother. He's talking about his self when he was a child. I think he's only, I don't know if he's maybe 10 years older than me. I'm 57 years old and I've pretty much had it. I've had it with former friends, fake book, phonies, and people that I gave a little bit too much friendship to. You're not going to get that anymore. Ever. Ever. Like I said, I can make new friends. And at least I know in my heart of hearts that I'm not some goddamn phony. That's for sure. So one of the last things when I talk to, like I said, my book is always available. When that turncoat drummer turned on me and he's running game, because the Woods and the Bloods, I told you, they're the exact same. They're both morons. And I'm a proud member of neither one. I'm proud to be me, right? I'm just proud of my accomplishments. So what he brought up, he said something about, Oh, you used to ride your mini bike through the neighborhood? That's how he told me. This is Jason Clifton, the bitch, mama's boy, right? Who runs with Jimmy Doom, who used my likeness in a murder article in 2018 where they're trying to rattle me. Remember? I do. I also remember going to a baseball game with Jim Hicks and a guy named Nathan, and having a homosexual approach me at the baseball game. Hey, Jim Hicks, do you ever remember having a cock in your mouth at 4? Because I do. It's pretty scary stuff. And I was too afraid to tell my mom that a guy named Joseph Jasmine put his cock in my mouth when I was 4 years old. How about that, tough guy? How about that? These things affect you. And inside the prison system are a bunch of guys who don't have fathers and they have overbearing mothers. Guess what I am? I'm that exact type. I'm that stereotype, right? I'm that exact stereotype. My mother was too much. It was like she was insane. And I already told you that my father was taken out of our family. And what did he do? What did my father do? He sure wasn't there when Joseph Jasmine was whipping his dick out and spray painting shit all up and down the neighborhood. Look at my neighborhood over here. Spray paint everywhere. I would tell you all about it, but you can go to somebody else's channel for that bullshit. You come here for the real thing. That's right. What did my dad do? After he was taken out of our house, what did he do? He drove around, drank beer, and smoked cigarettes. I did that until I was 38 years old, guys. And I'm very proud of the fact that I came back to Detroit. I quit drinking in the 06 era, and I wrote another album. And I started collecting my writing. And that's when my wife came along. She was a phony, and they were setting me up. And in case you don't know, that's why they're allowing these kids to steal from Lululemon or wherever. I don't know the places. I just saw it on the internet. I swears. I'm YouTube exclusive. Thank you very much, YouTube. Thank you for allowing me to be on your platform. I really appreciate it. Whatever your rules are, may they abide, bro. May they abide. I talk about stereotypes and archetypes because it seems to me that most people just fall right into it. Oh, is this how I'm supposed to act? Like, what? You guys remember Reservoir Dogs? You guys remember? Hey, look, he goes into prison, a white man comes out talking like a nigger. I never use the N-word. I just don't. It's not part of my nomenclature. It's not part of my vocabulary. I can think of better things to say, right? I think I'm the only one who was using the term peckerwood. I think I was literally the only one. You don't hear it at all. You hear the N-word all the time. Negro means black. I'm certainly not black. And I'm certainly not blanco. I always knew that. So? And these former friends of mine, that's all they care about, is putting me down, not helping me with my music, not supporting me because I don't know my race and I don't know my place. I always bring up the Boathouse Party. It was the last time I was around anybody at Harmony House. And I had a former friend of mine trotting her mixed race son around like he was a show pony to a bunch of fucking Peckerwoods. Oh my God, dude. It wasn't, and they don't even know it's embarrassing. They don't even know. They can't, because they're so clueless. I mean, it's really, truly sad. You have all these African Americans who are just Americans actually believing that they were slaves and that they were beaten and that they're owed something. And then you have these, again, it's only black versus white. Okay. I have to start talking about things that happen in my real life because they're brutal, man. I had a brutal upbringing, man. And I always kept my mouth shut, and I was very humble and nice, and I didn't deserve to be targeted through tech, and nobody's talking about this. I'm the only one talking about this on my show. I don't criticize the other side of the aisle because there is no other side of the aisle. There is none. Left wing, right wing, same bird. I think the old hippies were right. I think they knew that. A lot of people back then. But now it's all identity politics. You're supposed to identify with the person you are. You're not supposed to groupthink. It lowers your collective IQ. Did you know I spent yesterday thinking that Jamie Foxx was in a coma? Just based on the garbage that was coming up through my scroll. In case you don't know, I'm writing a novelization to a television series about punk rock. I don't listen to rap, and classic rock is passé. I grew up playing punk rock. All my songs are listed under Linoleum Blown Apart. I wish you'd check it out. I got a song called Consequence. It's a great song. It has great hooks. This guy named Steve the Gerbil Jackson, formerly of Farmington Hills. He lives in Arizona, some fucking place. Totally ostracized my band from the scene. Our band. Well, I guess it's my band now, since Jim Hicks gave up on it, Jason Clifton gave up on it, and Joe Rogers would rather do dope. I mean, that's just the bottom line. I couldn't get any support. One of the last things that happened in Michigan was I helped Joe Rogers move, but I can only do so much. I'm old. He shows up with a cane like he can't lift. It's just the biggest phony you ever want to meet. And then I help him fucking move all the fucking heavy stuff, and I'm like, I gotta go. His other friends left, so I left. And then when I needed his help, my mom was still fucking brutal, man. Let me tell you something before I left. My mom was LARPing me with that chick named Lynn. She runs with bikers. She's this biker skank and a Lacricchio family operative. I told you before, the Lacricchio family, one of the members of the Lacricchio family threatened to throw acid in my mother's face. That's how beautiful she is. And the guy who did it in the Lacricchio family, he doesn't have a wife. He doesn't have a girlfriend. Some of these motherfuckers ain't had pussy or dick since pussy or dick had them. Okay? I'm not trying to get monetized. I got every right to be here on YouTube. I'm YouTube exclusive. My show is for boomers, Gen Xers, and the not-so-silent generation. I hope you guys stick around for a while. I hope you enjoy Linoleum Blown Apart when you watch it. I'm going to be coming on here every single day. I had to take a week off just to kind of do some other things and to kind of gauge my channel. I'm trying to look spiffy. What are you talking about? I'm completely self-contained. I told you, here's my stuff. It's all my stuff. I got too much. I cut my own hair. I live off the EBT menu. I'm homeless in Los Angeles. I got that from Jim Thompson. And I've read a few novels, but I used to go to the bookstore and I would just, you know what I mean? I read David Goodis and Jim Thompson, stuff like that, but I would read it in the bookstore until it was time to go. Either in New York, it would be go on an audition. Okay, what people don't understand is that back in my day, you would actually have to go to auditions in order to work as an actor. I quit going on auditions. And when I did go on an audition, it was in Michigan, and they took me to Gasoline Alley, and then they took me down to Hamtramck on a fake shoot in a warehouse, like I was worried about it. They were doing this stuff, and these guys are Fed rats, and one of them is from Ohio. Okay, these guys said that explicitly. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Did you guys get an earful there? Here you go. Man, I got to do this while I still have some ice. Oh. It's all going to melt, but there you go. You guys want to see how I'm living? Yeah. See, I go to the store and buy one of these, and then I have to go get... There's a little too much moo juice in this stuff. And then I have to go get... Oh. Today I'm at the library. And then I go to... what do you call it? Starbucks, but I don't use the bathroom. Like I said, I use the public restrooms here in... Wherever I'm at. Like Beverly Glen. What do they call it? No, Beverly Grove, I think they call it. Oh, so good. So I talk about my real life because nobody had a life like me. And I talk about it a little bit in my book. Now, I don't know if I talk about the shadows or not as a child. That's what I call being molested. I call it the shadows. And when I went to go tell my mother what happened, I was afraid I was going to get beaten. Okay, that's how I came up. And then to have years later, some phony like James Kenneth Graham, who's a bitch-ass mama's boy, use my likeness in an article about a murder of somebody who's on stage. I got him. You guys always want to check the community section. That would make James Kenneth Graham an accessory to murder after the fact. But that's okay. He's in the good old boys club. What a bunch of phonies. So I talk about my real life. The only other Lumbee person I met was Lloyd Oxendine. And I was an art handler back in 1993. This is when I found out that all of the East Coast American Indians were part African American. Part Southern African. But the fact is, some of them came over before the fucking slave trade. There's no way to know. That's why academia is insufferable. That's why people like Andre, the former friend of mine, I don't know if he likes pussy or dick. I'm not really sure what club he's in. Oh my God. Like I said, we never cared. Nobody cared. I have a unpublished chapter in my book. It's called Queer Bait and Tackle. It's about being queer baited. It's not about queer sex. Like, again, nobody cares. And I loved how Anheuser-Busch LARPed the alt-right. They fucking LARPed the shit out of them. Why? Because they don't give a fuck about $9 billion. They can take a hit, right? Because that's our life. And I didn't want to end up like my father, driving around drinking beers and smoking cigarettes. And I did. I drank beers and smoked cigarettes through my marriage. Through my marriage as well. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. Okay? They're like, I started smoking, they were 50 cents a pack. I think they're about $10 a pack now. Something like that. I think I'm a little too loud. I'm in a park. There's no, you can look around. There's no families I think it's a Friday. I'm not really sure. I don't keep track of stuff like that at all. But we're 20 minutes in, and thank you very much for listening about my life. I was supposed to put everything I'm telling you, I was going to put in a second memoir called I, Son. But instead, not that many people read. You guys want the audio version of it. I know I do, because when I drive or when I'm busy, you put your headphones in and you would just listen. That's what I want you to do with my show. Just listen to my show. I do not take donations, and I eat off the EBT menu. That's $6 per day, and that's how I eat. I eat found food. So, but what we're doing by me doing this free association, okay, and I encourage you to start your own YouTube channel. I encourage you to maybe do some writing yourself, whatever it is you want to do. I think in the future, these videos are going to be prescient. I don't think, not too many books, I think, are going to have too much value to them at all. They would probably just put them on audiobook or whatever. I don't want to get into it. I was going off like, cheers. Oh, I wish it was a little darker though, but I like the flavor of coffee more so than, caramel or whatever. The flavoring. I like the flavor of the coffee. So let's go over We Are Martian really quickly, and I'm very sorry about yesterday's show. I have to do a show every day. I'm going to do one every day if I can, okay? I noticed that Nathan at Lift the Veil, I don't know if he's LARPing me or not. Excuse me. But he said he went to a behavioral health center. And again, when you mention somebody, like I said, they have Google alerts on their name. Now, I mentioned somebody, and I said that they look like excuse me. I said that they look like they came out of the Eminem's trailer park, and then the next time they had a show, they had a picture of Eminem, right? So these people have Google alerts on their name, and I just want to say for the record that they are using tech. Guys, this tech is sophisticated. You're not going to get this on NBC, ABC, or CBS, obviously. I'm all about alt media. I've been about alt media ever since they had something called zines in the punk rock era. And you would go to a show and there would be all different kinds of people there. So if somebody had a belief, that was up to them. That's on them. They have the belief system. So what? That didn't stop somebody from going to a show. Now it's really writ large, and you should all be ashamed of yourselves. I'm not kidding. I never fell into that trope. Now take a look at, you had the murder of this guy, Franz Ferdinand. Nobody knew who this guy was. The Archduke of, that started World War I. They're like, oh, did you guys hear? Franz Ferdinand. I'm sorry, I can't remember where he's from off the top of my head, but he died, so we have to go fight in a war. And here they come. Here they come. Who are they? A bunch of guys under 20 years old, a bunch of teenagers. Right? Bunch of guys maybe in their 20s at the best, going to fight in World War I over Franz fucking Ferdinand, a guy they don't even know. Take a look at what the catalyst was for all the turbulence in 1960s America, or America, that's where we're at, and the world. The death of JFK, I bring it up all the time. Then we what? We went into Vietnam, right? Now, didn't we? Then we had riots here. Now, I just want to state for the record, the mini stinks of Newark, I have to give it a thumbs up. I think it's called the Many Saints of Newark. I call it the Many Stinks of Newark. I have to give it a thumbs up. Number one, the production design was beautiful. Number two, the casting was excellent. Number three, the costume design, the set design, the vehicles. I have to give the Many Saints of Newark a thumbs up. It was really good. And he did talk about the guy from that Denzel Washington played in American Gangster. Did you guys catch that in the Many Saints of Newark? Did you guys catch that? Now, I talk about this all the time. I came up in the post-Vietnam era of Taxi Driver, and it was all about heroin and marijuana. 10 for 2. Right? That was the whole John Lennon thing. 10 for 2. They were talking about marijuana and they were talking about heroin. They didn't talk about cocaine. They showed it in Easy Riders 1969. The entire 70s was about cocaine because it was about what? Disco. And then they didn't start talking about cocaine until there was a quote-unquote crack epidemic in 1984. Now, I have been doing coke the entire time, and I learned this from my sister's boyfriends, and those sisters are Leona and Sherry. Okay? Because Tammy was too smart. She left our family, and I don't blame her. She has her own point of view when it comes to our father, and what a degenerate piece of shit he was. But again, when you drink like that, your self-esteem is shot. Your self-esteem takes a big hit. And that's why, a lot of people get defensive and stuff like that. They don't have their faculties about them. And I worked really hard to get sober, and I didn't want to end up like my dad. But I can see these patterns happening over and over again. That's why I didn't care. That's why I threw away my band. I didn't care. I'm like, I knew I had the talent. It certainly isn't any of these other bands. It certainly isn't them. Those bands are a joke. And I knew it. but I knew what my job was. I knew that I was a cog in the wheel. Okay? And I knew that as an actor. I knew I wasn't going to, nobody's going to be a star. Everybody knows that. You just want a nice supporting role, right? A small little role as an actor, right? As a playwright or as a filmmaker, you just want to do like have your play shown or your play put up somewhere small. You want to, you want to build, right? It takes a long time to build. And that's what I was talking about yesterday. Nobody can put this together, the emerald tablets of Thoth and Moses, the tablets from Moses. I mean, it's kind of quite obvious to me now. Now, I'm not quoting from Hans Jonas. I talk about Hans Jonas's book. I'm not quoting from Hans Jonas's book. What I'm doing is I'm taking Hans Jonas's information and it's causing my discernment to kick in. And I'm reading between the lines and I'm going, oh, I can see this now. Because I started studying the Bible when I was a child. And I'm sorry, we're going to talk about We Are Martian, I promise. But you guys, I know you have fun listening about my real life. I know it gets pretty brutal. And that's why people got triggered about hurting children in the 2017 era. And I got a little something for Bill Maher's Basement. You know me, I talk about the shows that I actually watch and support. I hit the like button. Like you guys should be hitting on my show. I'd appreciate it. Oh boy, I'm in a mood. I need a girlfriend. I gotta get laid. I'm just being honest. So, Kathy Griffith. Okay. She's done. She almost got, I can't remember, she almost got Joan Rivered. She's lucky she didn't get Joan Rivered. She almost got Joan Rivered. She lost her voice. Remember? Crushing of the larynx. The crushing of the larynx. Don't forget, I came out the other side of being black-pilled, and that's why I'm working on my creative endeavors. And I'll be working on those. I write fiction now. Okay? I used to write first person. I write fiction now. Kathy Griffith was on Bill Maher's Basement, where you smoke pot, like I used to do back when I was a teenager. And that's my new laugh, by the way. My high-pitched laugh. I really enjoy it. I like doing that. It's a good nod to not only Burt Reynolds but to Norm Macdonald. So Kathy Griffith. She lost her voice. And by the way, in case you guys don't know, they had something called Pizzagate. And they staged it to where they made it look like people were, I don't want to say what they did about a DC pizzeria. Pizzagate was Epstein's Island. So get your fucking definition straight before you start running your fucking mouth. And that goes for anybody. Pizzagate wasn't a pizzeria in Washington, D.C. Pizzagate was Epstein's fucking island. Right? Now, if somebody's over the age of 18, actually, here in America, most states, all you have to do is be 16. That's why Joe Rogers told me some fake story. He's the old bass player from my band. None of these guys I've ever played music with are worth a shit to me. And if you ever come near me again, I'll put you on the ground or under it. Make no mistake about it. I don't play that intimidation tactic. Because they're part of the good old boys club. And what they do is set people up for crimes that they actually didn't commit. This is what I'm trying to tell you. That's why they're allowing these people to run rampant and commit all these crimes, because they're keeping track of these people. And what they'll do is they'll let you commit any crime you want. And then when they're ready, they'll come in and set you up for something that you didn't do. That's how the system works. And when it comes to hurting children, you think Chris Hansen and whatever that, To Catch a Predator, you think that show, everybody watches it in virtue signals? Oh my God, did you see that? Did you see they caught him? Yeah? Did you know that every single person who got busted by that show, if they had a good lawyer, that they would have got off with entrapment? Did you know that? See, they don't tell you that. They don't teach you that. They're too busy virtue signaling, thinking that they're better than somebody else. We're all created equal, but under unequal circumstances, guys. I'm a victim of circumstance. Huh? Yeah, to this day, I love the Stooges. I love it all. I love all that stuff, right? But anyways, I got to get in the library. I don't even know what time it is. Guys, I get up. I'm on regimen. I get up every day at 7 o'clock. Regardless, and I'm hurting. Because where I sleep, I don't have any room. My neck is killing me, man. I get up anyways. You see how I live. Look at that. That's how I live. Out here in Los Angeles. Getting hassled, getting LARPed. People putting shit by my car. People going by saying stuff to me. Smoking crack by my pack. They're smoking crack by my pack. They'll come right up to my pack. Because these Fed rats and undercover cops, they can't help it, man. They don't have a life, and they have to show who they are. I don't have to do anything. All I have to do is show up and write my stories. Right? Okay, let's talk about We Are Martian. In 19 homina homina, right? In 20 homina homina, you pick the date. Elon Musk type person. They go to Mars. Now, I was talking about Orville. Ugh. The show's okay, I guess. I don't know. Man, come on. That name was terrible. It's got to be honest. Mine is called We Are Martian. Okay, so this is the clue. This is what you guys didn't know. This is what I didn't tell you. Yeah! I told you guys get something new on my show every day. It's too late to donate. You can't. If you see me, just say hello, man. Be a nice person and not some piece of shit LARPer. LARPing in Michigan. LARPing in New York. LARPing here. Shameful, man. Putting things out there to try to entrap me. They put out a bus card. They put out something that you can jimmy a deadbolt with by my car. Ugh. These people are insane, bro. All right. Sorry, I don't mean to have it that far in. I look better back this far. Yeah. Right? So what's going to happen in this show? Now, it could be a movie, but it's called We Are Martian. And I told you before, it's about classism. Remember when The Twilight Zone had a moral message to it? You understand? You can't bring back The Twilight Zone. You can't bring something back, but you can capture the essence. Ooh, tickle, tickle. Oh, shit. Right? You can capture the essence of great shows like that with We Are Martian. You know why? Because, I don't know about the elongated skulls. That might be a little rough. Everybody looks like they got a fucking... because you're going to vacillate. You're going to go back and forth in time. But you don't want to confuse the audience. There's nothing more annoying than when you're watching a film, you're going into the film, right? Now, don't forget, I'm into film. I like books. Books are their own medium. Records are their own medium. Okay? Audio is its own medium. But film, like how Wagner struck Nietzsche, is all encompassing. You have the mythology. You have the metaphor. You have the regular story. You have the subplot. You have the music. Right? You have everything. The beautiful women. You have the costumes. right? So it's all encompassing. It's all enveloping. And that's what's important going into the future. And so We Are Martian is going to be about classism. That's what it's going to be about. It's going to be about, excuse me. Sorry. When they've had enough, right? It's like a child. I told you before, it's like a child leaving a family. It's like, I've had it. Now, for me, it's different. You know me, I embrace family. I love family, but they just don't love me. I'm telling you right now, I will give you $1,000. Give everybody in my family, all the women in my family, a lie detector test, including my mother. I'll give you $1,000 and ask them if they would rather see me alive or dead. And give them a lie detector. I'll give you $1,000 each. For each one. And it would show you. You're talking about people who never dealt with this archetype. They never dealt with this shadow work. With this brutal upbringing. My earliest memory is my father punching my mother with a closed fist. That's my earliest memory. And I worked really hard to transcend this. And now I got a bunch of sissy LARPers coming up on me, rolling up on me. And my wife involved in tech torture? Oh, yeah. But as far as We Are Martian is concerned, you only want to vacillate, right? You only want to vacillate. I'm not a lech, I swear. Eh? Oh, man, I need a girlfriend bad. So, I get another girlfriend every night, Ma. I love you. By the way, you guys, I know I'm okay. You guys know the character Tommy. You guys know it's based on a true, I always talk about this, Henry Hill, right? You know the character Tommy? You know why he was acting out like that? Because his brother was a rat. His brother turned state evidence. And so Tommy, the real life Tommy, in Goodfellas, he was overcompensating for his brother because he wanted to make sure that they saw he was solid, that he wasn't his brother. You see that? And look what happens to him. He overcompensated a little bit too much. Nah, he's gone. And there ain't nothing we can do about it. Right? So, back to We Are Martian. Thank you very much. That's at the end. Hold on. So you really only want to go back to 2 timelines. What you're going to do is this. You're going to start off like around now with the Elon Musk type and everybody's leaving. And you're going to cut 2 different things, different timelines into the 1,000 years. But you don't want to confuse the audience too much. You only want that first few years on Mars with Elon Musk living there. I'm saying an Elon Musk type character. That's, you guys know what I'm talking about. And then you can cut to the tabloid media here saying, oh my God, the first Martian baby was born. Yes, it's the first Martian baby. How do you guys feel about it? And they're all really superficial, just like these twat waffles back in Michigan. That's what I think about them. They're totally superficial. And I wrote about them in my songs. I don't want to be any part of a social scene. Right? That's the kind of phonies I'm talking about. Phonies who pass around a salad dressing and ask you if you want to taste it. Do you want to try the dressing? And you're supposed to say, no, I stuck my finger right in that motherfucker. Right? Remember Nathan? Yeah, I do. I do as well. So you only want that little bit of a timeline, right? Because it's too much. Oh, this would happen in 2011. This is what happened in 100 years. Then you got to go back another 50 years. And then you got to go to, it's not Dune. Okay? You got to make the timeline pretty simple when you go back to when they first arrive and the attitudes of everybody there. And then you're going to cut a major chunk, 500 years, 1,000 years. I like 1,000 years. It's so nice. It's beautiful. You could use Led Zeppelin in the soundtrack. I mean, I can't believe Led Zeppelin's only been used a couple times in films. I mean, it's really incredible. I mean, I think Scorsese went way over the top using the Rolling Stones. Just way over the top sometimes. It's just like, enough. I think David O. Russell used Led Zeppelin, and when I heard it, I was just like, in case you guys don't know, I love David O. Russell. I think he's a great filmmaker. I think he's done a lot of misses as well as a lot of hits, but that's what you got to do. And when you're nurturing talent, and that's what I didn't have. I didn't have any support in Michigan, and I hope like hell, maybe at the end of my life, I can finally get some support here in Los Angeles. Thank you very much for watching my show. I appreciate it more than you'll ever know.